हेलो फ्रेंड्स, हम अपने घटना चक्र की हिस्ट्री की PYQs वीडियोस को कंटिन्यू करते हैं। हम बुद्धिज़्म के 20 क्वेश्चन तक कंप्लीट कर लिए थे पिछली वीडियो में। अब नेक्स्ट वीडियो में क्वेश्चन नंबर 21 से आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं। एट विच प्लेस डिड महात्मा बुद्धा गिव फर्स्ट धर्मचक्र परिवर्तना? सारनाथ। आफ्टर हिज एनलाइटमेंट्स इन बोध गया, Buddha went to Sarnath, where he delivered his first sermons, which is known as Pali as the Dharmachakra Parivartana or Dharmachakra Parivartana. Sarnath is one of the 4 holy places associated with the life of Buddhas. Other 3 important places related to Buddhism are Lumbini, birthplace of Buddha; Bodh Gaya, the place of enlightenment of Buddhas; the Kushinagar, place of death, popularly known as Mahaparinirvana in Buddhism. Where did Buddha preach his first sermons? Sarnath. Who gave his first sermon in Sarnath? Mahatma Buddha. Gautam Buddha gave his first sermons at Sarnath. In Buddhist text, Dharmachakra Parivartanas is known as फर्स्ट सरमन एट सारनाथ। तो धर्मचक्र परिवर्तन का बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट में कहा गया है कि उन्होंने फर्स्ट उपदेश अपना सारनाथ में दिया। धर्मचक्र परिवर्तनास वॉज परफॉर्म्ड एट सारनाथ। बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन इससे बने हुए हैं पिछले साल में। गौतम बुद्धास गेव मैक्सिमम सेरेमनीज एट विच प्लेस? श्रावस्ती। Most of the disciples of Gautam Buddha were from Koshala's regions. He delivered his maxims at Sravasti, the capital of Koshalas. Buddha has visited Kaushambis during the region of Udayana. Mahatma Buddha visited Kaushambis during the region of King Udayana under the influence of Pendola Bharadwaj. Udayana turns to Buddhism and donated Gohist Ram Vihar to Bhikshu Sangh. Question 29. First Buddhist conference after death of the Buddhas was presided over Mahakashyapa. First Buddhist conference after the death of Buddhas was presided over Mahakashyapa. The first Buddhist council held on soon after the Mahaparinirvana of Buddhas under the patronage of Ajatasattus, with the monk Mahakashyapa presided at Rajgir in the Saptaparini cave. The idea was to preserve Buddha's teaching sutta and the rules for disciples Vinaya. Ananda, one of the great disciples of Buddha, recited suttas, and Upalis and other disciples recited Vinaya. Abhidham Pitaka was also included. Who was the president of the first Buddhist council? Mahakashyapa. Who among the following conducted the first Buddhist council? Mahakashyapa. Where was the first Buddhist council convened? Rajgriha. Saptaparini cave is situated Rajgriha. After Mahaparinirvana of Lord Buddha, the first Buddhist council held Rajgir. The first Buddhist council was held just after the death of Mahaparinirvana of Lord Buddha during the tenure of Magadha King Ajatasattu in Saptaparini's caves Rajgriha. Who among the following presided over the Buddhist councils held during the region of Kanishk at Kashmir? वसुमित्रा। तो वसुमित्र थे जिन्होंने कश्मीर में बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल को प्रिसाइड किया था। द फोर्थ बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल वाज हेल्ड इन कुंडलवना, कश्मीर, अंडर द patronage of Kushan King Kanishka, and the president of the council was Vashumitra, with Ashwaghosa as the deputy presidents. The council's distinct distinctly divided Buddhism into two sects, namely Mahayana and Hinayana. So, fourth Buddhist काउंसिल्स डिस्टिंक्टली डिवाइड हो गई थी टू सेक्ट्स में, एक थी महायाना और एक हीनयाना. Mahayana sects and Buddhism emerged during the reign of Kanishka. So Mahayana sects and Buddhism emerged during the reign of Kanishka. तो हमने देखा था कि कनिष्क के रीजन में ही जो महायाना था वो इमर्ज हुआ. A Buddhist council during the reign of Kanishka was held Kashmir. The fourth Buddhist council was held in Kashmir during the reign of Kanishka. The fourth Buddhist council was held during the reign of Kanishka. Question 40. Which of the following rulers convened the fourth Buddhist council in Kashmir, Kanishka? Considered the following deifications of the Buddha, tradings, the path of Bodhisattva, image worships and rituals. So, first, second, thirds are correct. Mahayana Buddhism believe in Buddha's extraterrestrials, power and divinity. Its belief in many forms and incarnations of Buddhas. Mahayana Buddhism is based on the principle upon the path of Bodhisattva. Bodhisattvas are enlightened beings who postpone their own salvation in order to help all sentient beings. Mahayana Buddhism believe in idol worships and rituals. Four Buddhist councils were held in following places. Arrange them in chronological order using the code. फर्स्ट राजगीर, दूसरा वैशाली, तीसरा पाटलिपुत्र और चौथा कुंडलवनम. फर्स्ट बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल हेल्ड soon after the death of Buddhas under the patronage of King Ajatasattu, with the monks Mahakashyapa presiding at Saptaparini cave at Rajgir. The second council took place during the reign of Ashokas after 100 years of Buddha's death in Vaishali, was presided over by Sabakami, and third council was held during the reign of Ashoka at Patliputra, and the fourth council was held during the reign of Kanishka at Kashmir, Kundalwan. The second Buddhist council was held which of the place? Vaishali. Second Buddhist councils was held on Vaishali during the reign of Ashoka after the 100 years of Buddha's death in Vaishali, and presided over Sabakami. Where was the third Buddhist council held? Third Buddhist council held on Patliputra. The first Buddhist council held during the reign of Ajatasattu. The first Buddhist council was held during the first Buddhist councils was held which of the following cities? Rajgir. Second Buddhist councils was organized by Kal Ashokas. Correctly match list. First Buddhist councils Mahakashyapa. Second Buddhist council Sabakami. Third Buddhist council Mowgli Puttatisha, and fourth Buddhist councils Vashumitra. So option D is correct. First Buddhist council Mahakashyapa, second Buddhist council Sabakami president थे, और third Buddhist councils Mowgli Puttatisha, and fourth Buddhist council Vashumitra. So Buddhist council and presidents. Question 49. Fourth important events of Buddha's lives and thereby related four places are mentioned below. Match schedule first and schedule second and are selected correct answer. Birth, enlightenment, फर्स्ट प्रीचिंग्स डेथ कुशीनगर में ही हुआ था. एंड फर्स्ट प्रीचिंग सारनाथ. इनलाइटमेंट बोध गया. नहीं, इनलाइटमेंट सेकेंड बोध गया. हाँ, इनलाइटमेंट बोध गया सही है. फर्स्ट प्रीचिंग तो सारनाथ और बर्थ हुआ था इनका लुम्बिनी में. सो ऑप्शन सी इज करेक्ट. महात्मा बुद्धा was born 563 BC in Lumbini near Kapilavastu, Nepal. He got enlightenment in Bodh Gaya. Buddha's first sermons at Sarnath Rishi Patnams called Dharmachakra Parivartana and died Kushinagars called Mahaparinirvana. Which events of Buddha's lives is represented by wheel with deer in the Indian art? First preachings. First preaching events Buddha's lives is represented by the wheel with deer of Indian art. Buddha's delivered first preachings in Mrigadava Sarnath. Match list signs and meanings. Shine and meaning. Birth lotus, first serm, dharmachakra, pravartana, enlightenment, bodhi tree, great departure, horse. So option D is correct. बर्थ हुआ था लोटस में, फर्स्ट शर्मन, धर्मचक्र परिवर्तन, इनलाइटमेंट बोधि गया और ग्रेट डिपार्चर हॉर्स. Karmapa Lampa belongs to which of the following sects of Tibetan Buddhism? Kangyupa. Karmapas Lama belongs to Kangyupa sects of Tibet Buddhism. Question 53. Which of the following statements are correct about Lord Buddha's? He was born in Kapilavastu. He attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya. He discarded the Vedic religions. He preached noble truth. So option first, second, third, fourth are correct. Gautam Buddha's founder of Buddhism was born 563 BC in Lumbini, now in Nepal, in Kshatriya plain. Plain of Kapilavastu. He believed the theory of karma. Buddha discarded Vedic and Vedic rituals. Instead, he believed noble deeds and acts in place of Vedic rituals. He has given a four noble truth of known as the Aryas. Aryashatya. Life means sufferings. The origin of sufferings is attachments. The cessations of sufferings is attainables. There is a path of cessations of sufferings. Hence option D is correct. He was born in Kapilavastu. He attained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya. He discarded the Vedic religions. He preached noble truths. All four are correct. Mahabodhi temples was built at Bodh Gaya where Gautam Buddha has received enlightenment. For full 6 years, Gautam Buddha shouted due solutions to suffering. Ultimate, he got enlightenment at the age of 35 years at the Bodh Gaya under the people's tree on the Vaishak Purnima night. Hence he calls Buddha's Mahabodhi temples was built at this site. Bodhi bricks in Bodh Gaya belongs to which generation's family? Bodhi bricks and Bodh Gayas belongs to 5th generations. At present, Bodhi bricks at Mahabodhi temple is not the real ones, where Mahatma Gandhi got enlightenment. According to Huan Sang, a Chinese traveler, King Shashank destroyed the original tree in the 7th century. The present tree which we see was planted by the order of Alexander Kalingams and called the fifth generation tree. It is a heritage site and only fallen leaves of this tree are allowed to touch and pick. 56. Which of the following Buddhist sacred place situated on the bank of river Niranjana, Bodh Gaya? The Buddhist sacred place Bodh Gaya where Buddha got enlightenment is situated bank of river Niranjana. The teaching of Buddhas is related to purity and holiness of conduct. The teaching of Mahatma Buddhas is mainly based on purity and holiness of conduct. Who among the following wanted to become the leader of Sanghas even during the lifetime of Buddhas? Devadatta. Devadatta, the cousin of Mahatma Buddhas in his early days. He was a follower of Buddhas and good monks as well, but later tried to become the leader of Sanghas in place of Buddhas, but did not succeed. From the beginning, he was thinking the leader of the Sanghas. Devadatta. Who among the following wanted to become the leader of Sanghas even during the lifetime of Buddhas? Devadatta. But he is not succeeding in owed his own targets. Question 59. Who among the following did Gautam Buddha nominated for the leadership of the Buddhist monks after the death? None of the above. Ananda, Mahakashyapa, Upali, none of the above, none of them. Gautam Buddha did not appoint any successor and asked his followers to work toward the liberations. The teaching of Buddhas existed only the oral traditions. The Sanghas held a number of Buddhist councils, reached consensus on matter of Buddhist doctrines and practice. The concept of eightfold forms the theme of Dharmachakra Parivartana Sutta. The concept of eightfold path forms the theme of Dharmachakra Parivartana Sutta. Buddha has given the eightfold path to get rid miseries of life and attains nirvana. Which of the following are true about the Gautam Buddhas? He believes in karma, he believes in rebirth, attaining nirvana, believe in the power of gods. So option first, second, third. Mahatma Buddha believed the doctrine of karma. He used to believe the concept of rebirth and attainance of nirvana, but did not believe the existence of God and his power. Buddha's beliefs in rebirth, previous life of Buddhas is recorded in Jakata. So he believes in karma, he believes in rebirth, attaining the nirvana, but he did not believe in the power of the gods. The entry of women bhikshunis into the Buddhist Sanghas is allowed by the Gautam Buddhas at Vaishali. On the request of disciple Anandas, Gautam Buddhas allowed the entry of women as a bhikshunis into Buddhist Sanghas at Vaishali. First woman who admitted into the Buddhist Sangha was Mahaprajapati Gautami. What is the three Pitakas? Three monkeys of God is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Three Ratnas of Mahavira, collection of preaching of Buddhas. So option D. Three Pitakas is one of the most holy books of Buddhism. It has been divided into three parts, namely Sut Pitakas, consists sermons and teaching of Buddhas; Vinay Pitakas, collections of rules governing the Sanghas and monks; Abhidhamma Pitakas, which deal with the philosophy of Buddhism. Three Pitakas texts are related to which religions? Buddhism. Three Pitakas are the sacred books of Buddhist. Three Pitakas is associated with which of the following Buddhist? Which of the following Buddhist texts contain rules of monastic life? Vinaya Pitaka. Yamakas belongs to Buddhist Pitakas. Abhidhamma. In order to preach the doctrine of Buddhism, Mahatma Buddhas, the Buddhist compiles a new Type of literature, three Pitakas, that can divided into three categories: Sut Pitakas, Vinay Pitakas, and Abhidhamma Pitakas. Sut Pitaka contains the saying and teaching of Buddha. Vinay Pitaka deal with the rules to be observed by member of Sanghas, and Abhidhamma Pitakas represent the philosophy expositions of Dharma. The Abhidhamma Pitaka consists 7 books: Yamaka Pathanas, Katha Vathu, Puggalapanati, Dhatu Katha, Vibhangas, and Dhammasangini. Sut Pitaka contains the saying of teaching of the Buddhas. Vinay Pitakas deal with the rules to be observed by the member of Sanghas, and Abhidhamma Pitakas the philosophy expositions of the Dharma. The Abhidhamma Pitaka consists 7 books: Yamaka Pathana, Kathavatha, Puggalapanati, Dhatu Katha, Vibhangas, and Dhammasangani. Which of the following Buddhist literatures contain the Buddha's sermons on the matters of ethics and doctrines? Abhidhamma Pitaka nahi hoga. Which of the following Buddhist literature contain Buddha's sermons matters ethics and doctrine? To Sut Pitakas. Sut Pitakas, which of the also called Sutra Pitakas in Sanskrit, an extensive body of text constituting a basic doctrines sections of Buddhism canon. Sut Pitaka is the book of discourse dealing and ethical principles of Buddha's teachings. One of the part of the Sut Pitaka is known as Ghatnachakra, is a collection of 34 long suttas including doctrinal expositions, legend, and moral views. What does the Triratna means of Buddhism? Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Buddha, Dhamma, Sanghas are the 3 jewels, 3 Ratnas of Buddhism. After the Buddhas, his teaching were collections in 3 parts known as 3 Pitakas, and the 3 Pitakas and Vinay Pitaka, Sut Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitakas. Question 71. Consider the following about the feature of Buddhist philosophy. The seed of the Buddhist philosophy is traced in teaching of Buddhas itself. Buddhas always emphasize on the leading of the moral lives for the emancipations of human suffering rather than indulging in the philosophical problems. So option first and second both are true. The seed of Buddhist philosophy is traced in teaching of Gautam Buddha itself. Buddhas always emphasize on leading the moral life for the emancipations human suffering rather than indulging in the philosophical problem. So the seeds of the Buddhist philosophies is traced in teachings of Gautam Buddha itself. Buddhas always emphasize on leading a moral life for the emancipation of human sufferings rather than indulging into philosophical problems. But the later scholars of Buddhism developed a profound philosophy on the platforms of teaching of Gautam Buddhas. Question 72. In the ancient Buddhist monasteries, a ceremony is called Paranas used to held. It was concessions by monks of their offense committed during their stay in monasteries during the rainy seasons. Option B is correct. During the 4 months of the rainy seasons, the disciples of Buddha's life, Buddha's Mahaviharas, during these seasons, they stopped preaching their religions. After the rainy season, they again started preaching with a welcoming ceremonies called Pavaranas. In these ceremonies, the monks confess their offenses and discuss future work plans. Ashokram's monastery was situated at Patliputra. According to the famous Buddhist text Mahavamsa, the Maurya rulers Asoka built Asokram Vihar. in partly put under the supervision of monks named Indraguptas. Question 74. Where the highest in the world Vishwa Shanti Stupa is located in Bihar? Rajgir. Vishwa Shanti Stupas or the World Peace Pagodas, height 400 meters, situated on the hills of Rajgir in Bihar. It is the highest stupa in the world. The giant Buddha's statues of 80 feet at Bodh Gaya was constructed by Japanese. The giant statue in Bodh Gaya, Bihar, is 80 feet height. It is the meditation postures or dhyan mudras where Buddha is seated on the lotus in open air. It took 7 years to complete and is made of sandstone blocks, red granites. The statue was built with the help of the Izoko sects of Japan, where the word stupas has been used for the first times. Rig Vedas. The word stupas has been used for the first time in Rig Vedas. In Rig Vedas, stupa means tree stems. Rig Vedas refers to stupas raised by the kings Varuna above the forest in the peoples having no foundations. Anything that is raised on the grounds like heaps might have been known as the stupa. The stupa sites which is not connected with the incidents of Lord Buddha's Shanchi. The stupas at both Gayas is related to the enlightenment of the Buddhas. Sarnath is related to Dharmachakra Parivartanas and Kushinagars or Kushinaras is related to the death of Buddha, while Sanchi stupa is not related to any incident of the Buddha's life. The stupa of Bodh Gaya is related to the enlightenment of Buddhas. Sarnath is related to Dharmachakra Parivartana and Kushinagara is related to the death of the Buddhas, while Sanchi stupa is not related to any incident of Buddha's life. With reference to an ancient, consider the following statement. The concept of stupas is Buddhist origins. False. The stupa was generally respiratory of relics. Stupa was votives and commemorative structure of Buddhist traditions. Option B, only 2 is correct. The concept of Buddhas as predated Buddhism's word Buddha stupas is mentioned in the text all like Rig Vedas, Atharva Vedas and Vajjayansi Samhitas, Taittiriya Samhitas, etc. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Stupas were usually repositories in which the remains and the ashes of the dead were kept as a result of deep faiths of the common peoples in worshipping God and things related to the gods for the purpose of attaining salvation. The stupas later on acquired votives and commemorative structures. Which is the correct chronological order of the following of stupas? Bharuch, Sanchi, Amravati, Dhamek, Amravati, Sanchi, Bharuch, Dhamek, Sanchi, Amravati, Bharuch, Dhamek, Dhamek, Bharuch, Amravati, Sanchi. Bharuch and Sanchi stupa was constructed during the region of Mauryan Empire, Ashoka. Some historical sources also consider that Dhamek stupa was built during the region of Ashoka. Amravati stupa was built during the period of Satavahanas. It is not possible to decide the chronological orders of construction of Bharuch, Sanchi and Dhamek stupas. The question should be excluded from the evaluations. Question 80. Anatmavada's no self is doctrine of Sankhya, Vedanta, Buddhism, Jainism, none of these. Anatmavada, no self, the doctrine of Buddhism. Buddhism preaches Anatmavadas, which is clear from the principle of Pratishamutpadas of the Gautam Buddhas. Anatmavada means there are no souls or Atma. It is of the view of there is no permanent self, soul or essence in the phenomena, which is the unstable and transience is related to which of the followings? Buddhisms. The impermanence, also called Anitya, is one of the essential doctrines and part of the three marks of existence in Buddhism. The doctrine asserted that all of the conditioned existence without exceptions is transient, evanescent, and inconstant. All temporal things, whether materials or mentals, are compounded objects in a continuous changes and conditions subjected to decline and destructions. Question 82. Who among the following is known as light of the Asias? Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha is also known as Siddhartha, Gautama, Shakyamuni, or simply the Buddhas, was a sage on whose teaching Buddhas was founded. Buddha is also prominently known the light of Asias or light of beam. Edwin and Knowles wrote a book, The Light of Asia, based on the life of Buddhas. Who among the following is known as Light of Asias? Lord Buddhas. Who educated Neo-Buddhisms? Ambedkar. Navayana's New Buddhism is new vehicles and refers to reinterpretation of Buddhism. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Navayanas rejected the practices and precepts such as renouncing monks and monasticisms, karma, rebirth, afterlife, samsaras, meditations, enlightenments, and Four Noble Truths considered to be foundational in the Buddhist traditions. It is revised that original Buddha's teachings about the class struggles and the social equalities. Who was propounded the doctrine of momentariness? Buddhas. The doctrine of momentariness was propounded by the Buddhas. It is one of the most important doctrines of Buddhism. Through this doctrine, the Buddhas expounded the basic principles of impermanence. With reference to culture history of Buddhas, which one of the following is the correct descriptions of terms paramitas, perfections whose attainments led to the bodhisattva path. Paramitas in Buddhist terms is translated as perfections toward the path becoming Buddhas. Paramitas represent qualities that bodhisattvas strives to perfect in order to purify and kaleshas and develop bodhicittas. Sir Edwin Arnold books The Light of the Asia is based on Lalit Vitstar. The Light of Asia, subtitled The Great Renunciation, is book by Sir Edwin Arnold. The first edition of the book was published in July 1879. The book based on the content of Lalit Vistara. What is the fundamental difference between Hinayana and Mahayana sects of Buddhism? Worships of God and goddesses. Belief in non-violence, caste-free societies, worship of stupas, worship of God. The fundamental difference between the Hinayana and Mahayana sects of Buddhism is regarding treating the Buddhas as God. Hinayana believes Buddha is a great man, whereas the Mahayanas worshipping Buddha as through the idols, treating him as gods. Gautam Buddha was elevated the positions of the god during the periods Kanishka. The four councils held during the region of Kanishkas divided Buddhism into two sects, namely Hinayana and Mahayana. In Mahayana, Gautama Buddha was treated as the god and they worshipped Buddha through idols. Hence, Gautama Buddha was elevated to the position of god during the period of Kanishka. The first human statue worships in India were those of Buddhas. In India, Gautama Buddha was worshipped first through idols by Mahayana sects of Buddhism. Which of the following laid the foundation of idol worships in the country? Idol worships in the country Buddhism. In the context of the following, Buddhism laid the foundation of idol worships in the country. The followers of Mahayana primarily started worshipping the idol of Buddhas. Name the mudras which represent by the grand Gandharan Buddha image of Saranath. Dharmachakra. Gandharan's Buddha's image was inspired by the Hellenistic realism tempered by Persian, Scythian and Parthian models. The main subject of this art is based on the life of Buddhas. The image consists Dharmachakra posture, meditation posture, Abhaya posture, and Varadha postures of the Gautam Buddhas. Question 93. The standing statues of Gautam Buddha was built in which period? Kushana period. In India, the Gandharas are flourished during the Kushana's rules, particularly Kanishk. The greatest of the Kushans was great patron of art and architecture. It was during the reigns that Gandhara schools of art flourished during the sitting and standing posture of Buddha's statues were carved out in Mathura schools. The Kushana's art of Gandhara is mainly known for wealth of sculptures recovered from the numerous Buddhist stupas and monasteries. Question 94. The oldest sculptures of Buddhas is made in which styles? None of the above. Gandhara style, Mathura style, modern styles, Gupta styles. Option is none of the above. During the Kushana's period, various statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, both in standing and sitting positions, were made in Mathuras and Gandhara style. As per V.S. Agrawal, Buddha statues were first made in Mathura only. As per Van Sands, first Buddha statues was made in Kaushambi, but the various other historians gives credit to Gandhara styles for the first statue of Buddhas. Hence, it can not be said conclusive where the first statue of the Buddhas was made. Question 95. Question 95. Lord Buddha image is sometimes shown with the hand gestures called Bhumi Parashar Mudras. It symbolizes Buddha's calling the earth of witness his purity and chastity despite the temptations of Mara. Buddha's reminders to his followers that they all arise from the earth and finally dissolve into the earth. Thus, his life is translated. Both statement A and B are correct context. Option B. Buddha's calling of the earth witness is purity and chastity despite temptation of Mara. In Bhumi Parashar Mudras, Buddha is seen seated with his right hands as a pedant over the right knees, stretching toward the ground with the palms inward while touching the lotus throne. The left hand can be seen with the palms upright in his lap. The gesture represents the moments of Buddha's awakening as he claims the earth as the witness of his enlightenment. Just before he realized enlightenment, he is believed that the demons Mara tried to frighten him with the armies of demons, which represent the defeated of Mara and his demonic army by Buddhas. Question 96. Sarnath image of Bhumi Parsh Mudra belongs to Gupta period. Bhumi Parsh Mudras of Gautam Buddhas at Sarnath belongs to the Gupta period. The mudras represent steadfastness. Dhyani Buddha Akshabodhya also is associated with the earth witness mudra because he was immovable in keeping a vow never to feel anger or disgust about others. The mudras also symbolize the unions of skillful means Upaya, symbolized by the right hand touching the earth, and wisdom of Prajna, symbolized by the left hands on the lap in the meditation postures. The Sarnata Buddhism image is Bhumi Spars Mudra belongs to Gupta's period. With reference to cultural histories of Indians, consider the following. Parivarjakas, Saramana, Upasaka. First and third one. Upasakas are lay followers of Buddhism who are not monks. Parivarjaka literally means male renunciants and wanderers. Buddhist bhikshu is primarily parivarjakas. Sarmanas is wandering monks in certain ascetic traditions including Jainism, Buddhism and Ajivikism. Question 99. Which one of the following rulers did not contribute toward the expansion of Buddhism? Harshavardhana, Ashoka, Kanishka, and Pushyamitra Shunga. Option D, Pushyamitra Shunga. Pushyamitra Shunga 184 to 149 BC was the founder and the first ruler of the Sangha Empire in the East Indias. Pushyamitra was originally a general of the Mauryan Empire. In 184 BCE, he assassinates the last Mauryan Empire, Brihadratha, and proclaimed himself emperor. Buddhist texts state that Pushyamitra cruelty persecuted the Buddhism. Assertions. Kushinagar was the capital of Malla Republic. Lord Buddha's Mahaparinirvana took place in Kushinagar. Select the. So option B is correct. First and second are correct, but R is not correct explanation. Kushinagar is the capital of Mallas and also known one of the 16th Mahajanpadas of 6th centuries BC. Lord Buddha's Mahaparinirvana took place in Kushinagar. Therefore, both assertion and reason are true, but R is not correct explanations of assertion. 101. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Lothal, Sarnath, Rajgiri, Nalandas. Lothal, ancient dockyard. Sarnath, first sermon of Buddhas. And Nalanda, great seats of Buddhist learnings. First, second, and fourth are correct. Rajgir is land capital of Ashoka is incorrect. Rajgir is pilgrim center of Buddhism. Hindus and the Jains is famous for its hot water springs. Land capital of Ashoka is in Sarnath, not in Rajgir. The remains of the ancient dockyards are found in Lothal, Gujarat. Mahatma Buddha delivered first sermon at Sarnath. Nalanda was a great seat of Buddhist learning. Question 102. In the Mahayana Buddhism, the Bodhisattva Alokvishvara was known as Padmapani. Padmapani or lotus bearer is one of the most common epithets of Avalokiteshwaras, the Buddhist bodhisattvas of infinite compassion. The superbly modeled sculpture stand in Tribhangas or three-bent pose. A bodhisattva is a living being sattvas who aspire the enlightenment bodhi and carries out altruistic practice. The bodhisattva ideal is central to the Mahayana Buddhist traditions as the individual who seeks enlightenment both for himself or herself and other for other. Arya Manjuri Mullakalpa is related to which of the following? The term Arya Manju Sri Mullakalpa refers to a Buddhist tantric text. It is associated with the Mahayana and Vajrayanas Buddhism. The text is a part of the broader corpus of Buddhist scriptures that provide instructions on the various rituals, meditations, and practices aims at attaining enlightenment. Question 104. With reference to the religious history of India, Satvira Vadins belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. Lokotara Vadins sect was an offshoot of Mahasanghika sects of Buddhism. The deifications of Buddhas by Mahasanghikas fostered the Mahayana Buddhisms. Option B. Satyavira Vadins belongs to the Hinayana sects of Buddhism. Lokotara Vadin sects was offshoot out of the Mahasanghika sects of Buddhism, while deification of Buddhas by Mahasanghikas fostered the Mahayana Buddhism. Question 105. With reference to Indian history, who among the following is the future Buddha has yet to come to shape the world? Maitreya. Maitreya makes the first appearance in the Buddhist scripture in Lakavati Sutta or Pali Tripitakas. In this sutta, Buddha spoke of a future times in which the dharma is entirely forgotten eventually, and the Buddha Maitreyas will gain awakening. The monastic sanghas numbering in the thousand of Buddhas said, this is only the time historical Buddha is recorded as mentioning Maitreya. Question 106. With reference to the religious history of Indians, consider the following statement. The concept of bodhisattvas is central of the Hinayana sect of Buddhism. Bodhisattvas is compensates one of his way to enlightenment. Bodhisattvas delay achieving his salvation to help all sentients being on their path of it. So option 2 and 3. The word bodhisattva is a compounded word from the bodhi, enlightenment, and sattva's essence is spirit. Bodhisattvas is the goal and the ideal of Mahayana Buddhism. The Mahayana Buddhisms do not aspire the enlightenment purely to free themselves from suffering, but they do show out of compassion to liberate other sentient beings. They delays achieving their salvations to help all sentient beings on their path to do it. Thus, statement 1 is wrong, whereas 2 and 3 are correct. The painting of Bodhisattvas Padampanis is one of the most famous of illustrated paintings. Ajanta. The painting of Bodhisattvas Padampani is one of the most famous art structures in the cave. First of Ajanta, Padampani in Sanskrit literally translated into one who holds the lotus. Bodhisattva Padampani sits among a crowds of devotees, both princes and the commoners, with long dark hair handling down below a jeweled crown. He stands holding his attributes, a blue lotus flowers in his right hand. The painting of Bodhisattva Padampani is located at Ajanta. The largest and the most evolved rock cut Chaitya halls of the Hinayana's phase is situated at Karli. The Chaitya is the largest and the most evolved caves temple of Hinayana phase of Buddhism situated at the Karli in Pune district of Maharashtra. In which of the following rocks cuts caves 11-handed Bodhisattva image is depicted? Kanheri. The Kanheri caves located in Salsets Islands are the major tourist destination of the city of Mumbai in Maharashtra. These caves are located in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park complex. Kanheri mentioned in the ancient record as Kanha Shells. Krishnagiri Kanhagiri was the main center of Buddhism. It has the largest number of caves built at single hills. Kanheri caves were built in the 1st century BC and they were in use till 11th century AD. Cave number 41. Earlier it numbers 23. House and interesting idols of Avalokitesvaras with 4 arms and 11 heads. It is the only statues of its kinds in India. The worship of these forms of Bodhisattvas was prevalent in China's Chinese, Turkmenistan's, Cambodia's, and Japan in the 7th 8th CE. Who is the author of Vishuddhimagga Buddha Ghosha? Vishuddhimagga is treatise of Buddhist practice and Theravada's Abhidhamma written by Buddha Ghosha. Which Indian Buddhist monks has been sent to China's first AD? Nagarjunas. Nagarjunas was an ancient personality in the court of Kanishk. Huanshangs called him as one of the world's 4 great guides powers. In the book of Madhyamika Karikas, he has discussed the theory of relativity. He is also known as Indian Einstein. According to Chinese mythology, Nagarjunas traveled to China to preach Buddhism. The doctrines white Sunyata was propounded by the Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna's primary contribution of Buddhist philosophy was the use of concept of Sunyata or doctrine of whites. The famous literary works Madhyamika Karika provides one of the Nagarjuna's most famous quotations on emptiness or core arisings. To which Buddhist schools did Nagarjunas belongs to? Madhyamika. With reference to Indian histories, consider the following pairs historical persons known as Aryadeva, Dignaga, Nathamuni. Option C, only 2 pairs are correct. Aryadeva was a Buddhist philosopher and disciple of Nagarjunas. Dignagas was also Buddhist. Nathumuni was Vaishnava's scholar who is considered as the first teacher of Vaishnava sect. Buddhist centers of learning is Vikramshilas. During the Buddhist period, some of the most important centers of learning in India were Nalandas, Vikramshilas and Vallabhi. These centers of learning were not only popular among the different Janpadas from where the students come from learning, but also attracted students from the abroad, that is China, Japan, Tibet and other countries of Southeast Asia. Some of the education centers like Takshila and Nalandas enjoy the status of the university. Vallabhi University is situated in Gujarat. Vallabhi is one of the most important centers of Buddhist learnings was situated in Gujarat. It is known as Vallabhi Puras and was the capital of ancient Maitraka dynasty. Question 118. Nalanda University was founded during the dynasty of Gupta. Nalandas was the large Buddhist monasteries in the ancient kingdoms of Magadha, modern-day Bihar. In India, historians often describe Nalanda as university. Nalanda flourished under the Gupta's empire and was famous for the Buddhist religious philosophy. Who was the founder of the Nalanda universities? Kumaragupta. Nalanda University was the world's first international university founded in 450 AD during the reign of the Kumaraguptas. The great archaeologist Alexander Cunningham identified the site of Nalanda's university in 1915 and 16. Why was Nalanda University was famous in the world? Buddhist religious philosophy. 121. Out of 2 statements below, first assertion and second reason. Carefully read the statements. Assertions. Till the end of 12th century, Nalanda's Mahavihara lost its glory. Reasons. State protection ceased to be available at Mahavihara. With respect to the above mentioned 2 statements, which of the following is true? A and R true. Both are true. R is correct explanation of A. In the ancient India, Nalanda was a famous center of Buddhist learning and university as well. It is located at Rajgir at present Rajgira in Bihar. Nalanda University comes into existence during the period of Guptas. By the end of the existence during the period of Guptas, by the end of the 12th century, Mahaviharas won. Due to the Muslim invasion, the importance of Nalanda started declining due to the Palas rulers of Bengal as they started giving protections Vikramshila University. Hence, both assertion and reason are correct, and reason R is correct explanation to assertions. Now Nalanda Mahavihara is famous Pali Research Center. Now Nalanda Mahavihara is modern Pali and Buddhist research centers. Its foundation stones was laid on 20th November 1951. Which of the following were the common to Buddhism and Jainism? Avoidance of extremes, penance and enjoyments, indifference to authority of the Vedas, denial efficiency of rituals, known injuries of animal lives. So options 2nd, 3rd and 4th are correct. The avoidance extremisms of penance and enjoyments was a trait in Buddhism, not in Jainism, while denials of the efficiency of rituals, indifferences to the authority of Vedas, and injuries to the animals are prohibited by both religions. Both of them followed the path of ahimsa. With reference to the history of the ancient Indias, which of the following were the common of Buddhism and Jainism? Avoidance, extremism, penance and enjoyment, indifference, authority of Vedas, denials and efficiency of the rituals. So option B, 2 and 3rd is correct. Indifference to the authority of Vedas, denials and the denials of efficiency of the rituals. Which of the following is not common between the Buddhism and Jainism? C. Self-mortifications. Which of the following is not common between the Buddhism and Jainism? Self-mortifications. Lord Buddha's preach of the following 4 noble truths. Put them the correct order using the code. A, B, A, D, B, C. There is a sufferings. There is a cause of sufferings. There is a cessation of sufferings. There is a path of cessation of suffering. After attaining the enlightenment to preach his thought, Gautam Buddha arrived at Risipatnam Sarnath, where he delivered first sermons of 5 Brahmanas. It is also known as Dharmachakra Vartanas. The sermons were related to sufferings, the causes of sufferings, and its solutions. The concept of Eightfold Path forms the theme of Dharmachakra Parivartana Suttas, which means sermons of the turning of the wheels of laws. He prescribed noble Eightfold Path and 4 noble truths, which were accepted as basic tenets by all Buddhist sects. The 4 noble truths in chronological order are as follows. There is sufferings, there is the causes of suffering, there is a cessation of suffering, there is a path leading of cessation of the sufferings. Both Jainism and Buddhism believe that philosophy of karma, transmigration of the souls were correct. Salvation could be possible only after death. Both men and women can attain salvation. Middle course of life is the best one. So option A. Both Buddhism and Jainism believed philosophy of karma, transmigrations of the souls were is correct. Both Buddhism and Jainism believe the concept of karma, which states that our past actions affects our present and future life. One could do evils in his life and be reborn as a once in the next life. Similarly, afflictions in his life are often explained away as the effects of karma of the previous life or from misdeeds earlier in this life. Both of them believe in the philosophy of karma and rebirth. Question 188. 128. According to philosophy of Buddhism, assertions rejected the concept of rebirth. Soul is immortal. Option A is untrue, R is true. Soul of is immortal. Pratyashamutpada is the essence of Buddhist teachings. The invincibilities of Vedas and immortalization of souls propounded by Brahmin Granthas was inadmissible in Buddhism, even though they rejected the immortalization theory of souls. They accepted the principle of rebirth and theory of karma. According to them, life originates due to the cause of the various preconditions which are interdependent on type of the states into beings as a result of another previous state. So it is clear that assertions A is correct and R is correct. 129. Which of the following statements are correct about Buddhism? It is not rejected caste and classes. It is challenged highest social ranks Brahminism. It is pointed certain caste as low. Although Buddhism had accepted the caste system up to some extent, but they challenged the social rank of Brahminism, who were the top during the period. In Buddhism of the caste were placed as low. The reasons included in the expansion of Buddhism, the simplicity of the religions, special appeals toward Dalits, missionaries' concept of the religion's language, the soundness of the Vedic spirits by the philosophers. So option first, second, third, fourth. The main reason of spread Buddhism was its simplicity, its eightfold path known as Arya Satya, and concept of non-violence were simple and understandable by the common people. Buddha spread his message in the simple languages or the languages of the common people. Buddha did not believe in the caste distinctions. The non-Brahmins, particularly Dalits, were attracted by the simplicity of Buddhism. They also followed the missionary concepts. Question 131. Why did the Buddhism started declining in India in the early medieval times? Buddha was by that time considered as one of the incarnation of Vishnu and thus become a part of Vaishnavism. The invading tribes from the Central Asia till time of last Gupta's kings adopted Hinduism and persecuted Buddhists. The king of the Gupta dynasty was strongly opposed by the Buddhism. So only option A is correct. Buddha was that times considered as one part of the incarnations of Vishnu and thus become the part of Vaishnavism. Buddhism started decline in India in the early medieval times because Buddha was by that time considered as one of the incarnations of Vishnu and thus become the part of Vaishnavism. The king of the Gupta dynasty was not opposed to Buddhism even though they supports Brahminical faith. Statement 2 and 3 are not correct. Option A is correct. With reference to the religious history of the Indians, considered the following statement. Sautarnika and Sammitya were the sect of Jainism. Sravastivadins held the constituents of phenomena were not wholly momentary but exist forever in the latent forms. B only two. Sautarnikas and Sammityas were the sect of Buddhism, not Jainism. So statement 1 is incorrect. Sarvastivadins literally means doctrine that all exist. Sarvastivadins describe a complex system in which past, present and future phenomena are all held to have some forms of their own existence. Like all Buddhists, Sarvastivadins consider everything is empirical to impermanent, but they maintain that the dharma factors are eternally exist. Realities impermanence, also called anitya, is one of the essential doctrine and part of 3 marks of existence in Buddhism. The doctrine was presented by the Buddha himself. The doctrine asserted that all conditioned existence without exceptions, transients, evanescence, inconstance, and impermanence is a source of dukkhas. Therefore, statement 2 is correct. Consider the following statements. What is the difference between the Chaitya and Viharas? Viharas is a place of worship while Chaitya is dwellings, place of Buddhist monk. Chaitya is a place worships while Vihara is dwellings of place. There is no particular difference between both of them. Viharas and Chaityas both use dwellings places. So option B is correct. Chaitya is a place of worship while Vihara is a dwelling place. Chaitya Griha Buddhist caves is meeting or assemblies chamber which is often used for prayer, while Viharas is shelter accommodations of monks during the raining seasons. Question 134. The Indian art of the construction of Stupa, Chaitya and Vihara is related to which of the following? Ajivika sects, Buddhisms, Vaishnavism sects, Saiva sects. The option C, Buddhisms. Stupa, Chaitya and Viharas all related to Buddhism. Stupa is a dirt burials mounds faced with stones in Buddhism. The earliest stupas contains portions of the Buddha's ashes. As a result, it begins to be associated with the body of Buddha. Chet is the place of worship while Viharas is dwellings, place of monks. Question 135. Some Buddhist rock cut caves are called Chaitya while others were called Viharas. Is difference between two? Chaitya is a place of worship while Vihara is the dwelling place of monks. Consider the following statements. The early Chaityagrih and Viharas Guntu Phali in the West Godavari districts are rock cuts. The Chaitya and Vihara of Eastern Deccan are usually rock cuts. Option C, both first and second are correct. When question asked, Guntu Phalis was the West Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. Now it is in NTR districts. It has rock cut Chaitya and Viharas. Chaitya and Viharas of the Eastern Deccans are usually rock cuts. Question 137. In which of the following regions of Ghatnachakra, which flourished as a prominent Buddhist centers under the Mahasanghikas located? A. Andhra. Ghatnachakra, present day of Dharnikotas, is an ancient site located in the present day of Amravati Mandals in Andhra Pradesh. It was important town in the Deccans and the capitals of later Satavahanas. It was a major center of Buddhist learning and the culture. Excavation of Dharnikotas has revealed viharas here nearby the areas. Question 130. Which form of Buddhas was prominent during the Sultanate period? Vajrayana. In the medieval periods, Sultanate period, Vajrayana sect of Buddhism was most prominent. Vajrayana mostly flourished in the 8th centuries. The principle of Vajrayana is found in Arya Manjuri Mulak and Ghoyan Samaj. So friends, बुद्धिज़्म के जितने भी PYQs थे, टोटल 138 PYQs थे. हमने पिछली वीडियो और इस वीडियो में टोटल बुद्धिज़्म को कंप्लीट कर लिया है. लगभग वीडियो 1 घंटे से ऊपर की हो गई है. अब नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम जैन रिलीजन्स के PYQs को कंप्लीट करेंगे. सो प्लीज़ लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब द चैनल. थैंक यू.